We all rely on a very specific set of boundaries to feel safe. Locking a door, closing a blind, or retreating to a quiet space. These are the small, everyday rituals that trick our brains into believing we have total control over our environment. But the most effective modern threats rarely bother trying to kick down a deadbolt. Instead, they operate in the margins. They find the unwritten legal and social gray areas that surround our lives, and they bypass our defenses entirely. To understand how this works, we are going to look at 3 distinct case studies where a supposedly secure boundary was completely compromised. We will examine the physical home, the psychological landscape of the mind, and the isolated retreat. The realization that a space once considered private is actually accessible to anyone is a specific, cold type of terror. It reveals that the barriers we trust are often far more porous than we imagine. Let's start with the physical boundary. A 20-year-old couple recently moved into what they thought was their dream home, only to immediately discover a glaring vulnerability right outside their back door. The house directly next to theirs was abandoned mid-renovation. During that halted construction, the owner had removed the fence separating the 2 backyards. This created a wide open channel leading straight from the street, through the empty lot, and directly into the couple's private garden. It started with a series of trespassers. Unfamiliar men would routinely cut through the yard. Then things escalated. One night, while sitting outside, the couple noticed a man standing in the dark window of the abandoned house, staring blankly down at them for over half an hour. The harassment continued for weeks, reaching a peak when the couple checked their live camera feed. They saw a masked man standing outside their garden. He had his arms spread wide in a silent crucifixion pose, his head tilted back, staring directly up at their bedroom window. Terrified, the couple called the police. But authorities dismissed the situation. They explained that standing on a public street and staring at a house is not a punishable offense. A locked door means very little if the legal system cannot prevent a hostile stranger from claiming the space exactly 1 inch from your property line. Which brings us to the second sanctuary, the mind. A woman recently ended a nearly 2-year relationship with an intensely controlling partner named Caleb. To secure her safety, she moved to a new apartment, changed her phone number, and completely wiped her social media presence. Shortly after moving, she visited a new local coffee shop. As she stepped to the counter, the barista looked at her, tilted her head, and said, "Good morning, sunshine." That was Caleb's exact, obscure nickname for her. Over the next few weeks, the pattern continued. A ride-share driver asked if she ever figured out what she was running from, another exact quote from her ex. A woman at the grocery store whispered that she didn't get to just disappear. Different faces, but always the same blank, dead-eyed expression. She later discovered Caleb was confined to a rehab facility with no access to a phone. He wasn't following her himself. Instead, he was likely utilizing underground forums or paid services, routing specific scripts and instructions to random strangers in her city. He had turned the general public into a delivery mechanism. This tactic, known as psychological graffiti, forces the victim to constantly search for the stalker's shadow in the faces of every innocent person they pass. Once a predator figures out how to weaponize the general public, the victim's own mind begins to feel like a liability. The psychological boundary collapses, proving that our internal sanctuaries are often the hardest to defend. Our third case study moves away from the city entirely. A family from Detroit decided they needed a break from their densely packed urban environment. They wanted to create new memories by seeking out a truly isolated retreat. They booked a massive Airbnb property situated right on the shores of the Great Lakes. The house offered miles of empty shoreline, placing the family far away from neighbors, traffic, and any immediate social safety nets. Because of their large group, 4 younger cousins were assigned to sleep in an outdated, detached garage behind the main house. At roughly 3 a.m., the silence was shattered. A loud crash hit the garage door, heavy enough to physically shake the building. The girls alerted the family. Their uncle ran outside and spotted a man standing completely still in the dark. The figure didn't hide or flinch when called out to. Instead, he simply walked away and vanished into the darkness, leaving no footprints or any sound behind. The family later found 2 jester cards left on the property, one of which featured a distorted, demonic design. These symbols served as a deliberate mockery of their attempts to find safety in the woods. The family abandoned the property early. They learned that stripping away society removes you from everyday threats, but it also removes all avenues of help when a predator steps into that vacuum. Today, the couple continues to record every person who walks past their garden. The woman keeps her hair dyed and avoids eye contact with strangers on the street. The family cut their vacation short. These are the practical, ongoing shifts in behavior that occur when a sense of sanctuary is lost. This chart shows the authority gap. These predators understand exactly how to inflict maximum distress while operating in this gray area, the space where behavior is damaging but does not technically cross the threshold into a crime, leaving police powerless to intervene. We invest in ring cameras, motion lights, and deadbolts, believing they will keep us secure, but technology can only document a threat. Once a malicious actor figures out how to breach your boundaries without breaking the law, those tools cannot restore your peace of mind. True safety requires acknowledging that our societal boundaries are fragile illusions. When the systems built to protect us fail, our survival depends entirely on our own hypervigilance.